Near the shores of old Lake Erie stands our alma mater true. Fredonia State we proudly honor, with its colors white and blue.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Reflections of Fredonia. My name is Jack Croxton, and I'm an emeritus faculty from the psychology department at SUNY Fredonia. The goal of our podcast is to interview Fredonia alumni to find out what they've been up to since graduating from Fredonia and give them an opportunity to think back on some of the experiences that they had while they were a student here. We're recording from right here in Fredonia on a chilly morning at the Fredonia Radio Systems, Fredonia's student-run radio station.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chloe Kowalik. I graduated here from Fredonia in my undergrad in May 2024, and I am currently pursuing my Master's of Science in Clinical Mental Health Counseling here at Fredonia as well.
For today's podcast, we have a very special guest. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself by telling us your name and when you graduated from Fredonia.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Kerri Klein, and I graduated with my undergrad in 1998 and then my master's from Fredonia in 2001.
So what did you study while you were a student here at Fredonia?
Well, funny, I studied a lot of things. I changed my major a bunch, which is kind of a testament to Fredonia that they have so many options for programs. But I ended up graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in English and then went on to pursue that for my master's.
So what did you start out as in terms of a major?
I started out as a theater major, and I realized that the long hours in the scene building lab was not really for me. And so I floundered for a little bit and then really found my home in the English department.
Awesome.
So do you any particular faculty that are memorable for you, or any particular classes?
Oh my gosh, pretty much everyone that I had for English, but Dr. Steinberg was probably the one that stands out the most. He was not only my professor for several courses, but he was my advisor the entire time that I was at Fredonia.
I know Ted well. When I first came here in 1979, Ted was here, and we played on a summer softball team called McIntarfer's Apothecary. And Ted was our second baseman. I don't know if you knew he was a pretty big baseball fan of the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, I did not. I do remember fondly he loved cake, but because he had some health issues, his wife cautioned him not to have it. And so every year on Dr. Seuss's birthday, if you had him in class, he would bring a cake so that he could have cake, but not have the whole thing and share it with his class.
Oh,
I love that.
That seems like a reasonable compromise.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Anybody else besides Ted?
Oh gosh, Dr. Courts, Dr. Mills Courts.
Okay. Sure.
Dr. Conover, so many people just really, really loved the English department. I worked very closely with Dr. McCormick when I was doing my women's studies grad assistantship, but also as my master's, one of my master's teachers, and she was phenomenal. I really couldn't say anybody that I had for English there was anything less than amazing.
Yep, I know they were all great colleagues. Well,
Mhm.
while I was here, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what made you want to come to Fredonia? How did it get onto the map for you?
So Fredonia I was really afraid to leave home. I'm from Fairport, New York, and it's about 2 hours from here to Fredonia. And I wanted to go far enough away that my parents couldn't just pop in whenever they felt like it. But I didn't want to go so far away because I was really afraid I would be homesick. And I was probably my first semester until I found my groove. And then I really saw Fredonia as my second home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, looking at what the thing that you provided in your bio, it sure seems like you were active while you were here on campus in various types of clubs and organizations. Would you like to tell us a little more about that?
Sure. So I was a proud member of Resident Life when I was there. I did 2 years as an RA in Nixon Hall, and then I started off being a graduate RD at Alumni Hall. And on top of that, I had a brief show at the radio station. I was the assistant art editor for The Leader. I was involved with Super Dance, which was the 24-hour dance marathon. I helped when Rob Egan founded Vocal Point, which was the campus's um, a cappella choir, show choir, and I was their technical director for that. I just loved my time there and I wanted to make the most of it. I didn't want to graduate and have any regrets that I didn't do, anything that I wanted to do while I was there.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that you were a part of the Leader. I was actually the editor in chief my senior year. So I thought that was so
Amazing.
cool. Yeah, a fellow Leader person. What did you do at
Yes.
the radio station?
I had a little call-in show, like we took some requests and then, answered some love and dating advice, and it went okay. It just was one of those things where I was getting a lot of people that were really looking for love, and I felt like I wasn't necessarily qualified to advise them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I sort of hung up my hat on that one.
Was that Lover Call?
No, it was Lovelorn.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Because we have Lover Call, which I'm wondering if I want to say it started maybe in like 2000 or something like that. It might have started right as you were maybe in your master's. But it was
Maybe.
it's just like that, and it's been like, I think this year's the 20-year anniversary maybe, so maybe it was like 2006.
That's fantastic.
So it's a very similar thing, but they talk about like date ideas or things you could do with your friends and like how to like build relationships on campus. How do you meet new people? So it's like love, but also like, I guess just like
Friendship.
college relationships in general. Yeah. So I
I
thought that
love
was
that.
interesting. I was wondering if it's the same thing, but maybe they were inspired by you.
Maybe. Or maybe what not to do.
No, I'm sure not that.
So maybe just kind of quickly talk a little bit about being an RA or an RD. What did you find to be the most satisfying and maybe the most challenging of that kind of a role?
Sure. So the best part was really getting to know the other five people that I was on staff with. We were incredibly close. We went to dinner together every evening. So that was really a special kind of friendship for me. But also working with my residents, I still keep in touch with people that I was their RA their freshman year.
Wow.
And I, have graduated quite some time ago. So that's pretty amazing, just the friendships. I think the hardest part was trying to sort of supervise people that were so close to me in age. Sometimes it felt a little uncomfortable to say like, you shouldn't do this, or it's quiet hour. And, I'm really like maybe a year or so older than they are.
Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what your career trajectory looked like once you graduated from Fredonia.
Sure. So I did a lot of what I look back now as teaching. I did some time with Upward Bound. I taught some freshman seminar classes. I was with the organization Steps for a very long time and never really thought about teaching, even though all of that was teaching. And so when I graduated with my master's, I was kind of like, what do you do with a master's in English literature? I'm not sure. And so I decided to go back to get my teaching certification. I thought my mom was going to choke me out. And after 7 years of school already, but I went back and I became a high school English teacher. And I've been teaching since 2001, and I love it.
That's amazing.
Again, with that kind of a career, what do you find that has been the most gratifying and most challenging that you've found in terms of teaching?
I think very similarly. I think the relationships that I've built with my coworkers, but also my students. I run the student improv team downstage, and It's 10 students that audition, and they're incredibly intelligent and funny. They're far cooler than I will ever be. And I love that I get to see that and to foster them through exploring that. And I think just watching, it's always a little bittersweet. I teach seniors primarily, and watching them grow and then leave. And so it's always, wonderful that they're on to the next thing, and they should start the next part of their life. And I'm really proud of them. But it's always a little sad that they're not there in the halls anymore.
Mhm.
Um, I think the hardest part is transitioning after COVID. And I'm sure anyone that's been in education would say that it just really changed the face of how we teach.
Right. Now, I see that you also have done directing for
Mhm.
theater.
Yes.
What any favorite play that you've ever directed?
Oh, sure. My favorite play was Almost Maine. We don't have a black box at Fairport High School, but so we created one, false one on stage, and so we did it as a black box, really intimate, maybe 150 seats. And instead of having four characters, how John Ciriani, the author, wrote it, each little vignette we cast with additional students. So it was a much larger cast, but it was just really magical. And when I look back, that's probably the piece I'm most proud of directing.
Uh-huh.
That's so cool.
And are you still doing some directing or no?
No, once I started growing my family, I really stepped away from that just because I couldn't devote the time that I wanted to the productions.
Uh-huh. So now I see that you do weddings. Can,
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit more about how you got into that and what it's like?
That was kind of by accident. I had two friends that were getting married, and they said, "We want someone who's not boring to marry us." And I said very jokingly, "I'm not boring, I'll do it." And they said, "Great, you're hired." And I was like, "Oh gosh, what did I get myself into?" So I, didn't really know what I was doing, but figured it out. And then probably a few months later, I received an email on my schoolwork email that said, my godmother was at the wedding that you officiated. We need an officiant. Would you do it? And I said, "Oh, okay." And I didn't even know what to charge. My mom's like, "Why don't you just charge for gas?" So I charged $50 to cover my gas to and from the rehearsal and the ceremony. And then I realized I really loved it, and I loved hearing people's stories. And I custom write all my ceremonies, so it also incorporates the writing that I love to do, the speaking that I love to do, and really a lot of directing when you're running a rehearsal and running how everybody, all the moving parts for a ceremony. It's very much like directing a production.
Yeah. How many have you done over the
Al-
years?
Almost 500.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You're busy.
500.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So what
Yeah.
percentage of those people do you think are still married?
As far as I know, only two have divorced. And so I think I have a pretty good track record.
Yeah, you should put that
Wow.
stat up on your website.
I
like,
Yeah.
should.
like
I
a
should.
98% success rate. That's amazing. I know a lot of people talk about how they want like someone that's close to them or someone that's very personable to do their wedding. So it's really cool that you get to do that service for people and just kind of get to interact and be with people on their special day.
Yes. And I think my time at the leader, having to interview people who I didn't know, but I had to really like kind of dig a little bit to get something
Yeah,
interesting to write about, that really I think comes in helpful for this too.
that's cool.
So of all of those, have you ever had people who have had some kind of weird things that they wanted to have done at the wedding or something a little unusual?
Yeah, I've had two couples request that I do the marriage piece from The Princess Bride, and I've done it, but
Oh,
the first time I did it, everyone knew what it was from except for the groom's like great grandmother, and she's looking at me like, "Why are you speaking? Like, why did they hire someone with a speech impediment?" And then she realized it was a bit, and then thought it was funny, but
that's cool
That's
though.
great. Uh,
So I guess kind of looking at, your whole career and everything that you do today, do you think that Fredonia helped to shape your path to where you are or how so?
100%. I do a lot of, college admissions letters, teaching my students how to write the essay that they need for admissions. And I always tell them, Fredonia might not be right for all of you, but I hope you find your Fredonia, because for me, Fredonia challenged me academically. It made me grow. I was very, very introverted, and it really, kind of pushed me out of, the cliche, my comfort zone, to try new things, do new things, meet new people who I might not have otherwise interacted with. And, when I really think back on my life, I mean, it really was a second home to me.
Definitely. One of the things that I really like about Fredonia is how it's such a melting pot because you see
Hmm.
students from all over. Like one of my roommates was from Indiana. She came all the way from Indiana just to be in one of our programs here.
Wow,
So I
that's
think,
amazing.
yeah, you get like such an opportunity to meet so many people. Like, never would have met her otherwise. It
Right.
just gives you such a cool chance to really, I don't know, meet people from different backgrounds and people who have had different experiences. And I think it's so cool because it can, like, to me, it like broadens your perspective of the world.
Absolutely. I mean, my roommate was from Long Island my freshman year, and I came from, very small suburban town, and she was from also kind of a small town, but definitely more urban than I was. And so we came from very different perspectives. We both also had never shared a room with anybody before. So definitely taught us some life skills about, compromising and getting along with people that you might not always see eye to eye on. So
Yeah,
it was great.
that's cool.
Yeah, I just want to say Indiana is a wonderful state. That's where I grew up, in
Oh, that's
Oh,
Indiana.
right. That's
excellent.
right. Yes, I remember that now.
And it's funny. Funny. I grew up in Angola, Indiana. So when people ask me and I say I'm from Angola, they figure it's the Angola that's just up the road from Fredonia. And I say no, no, it's in
A little further.
Indiana. Well, so what advice would you really offer to our current students?
I would advise them, first of all, to always go to your class. I know sometimes it's really difficult to get up for those 8 a.m., 9 a.m. classes, so definitely go. You're paying a lot of money to be there, and your professors are amazing, so you don't want to miss out on your time with them and their knowledge that they're dropping. But I think also try everything that you want to try, because sometimes we get really stuck in our little boxes like, oh, I'm an English major, or oh, I'm a science major, or I'm a music major. And you don't try things out of those sort of, I don't know, venues or those, ideas. And I think sometimes the best creativity or the best experiences you can have is when you're doing something that um, is a little different.
Those are good words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, that just about does it for our interview today. Kerri, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I don't know. I think that all of you that are at Fredonia right now, you're experiencing some of the best time of your life, and enjoy it and don't wish it away. And I'm a very proud alumni.
Well, thank you very much for appearing on
Thank
our
you.
podcast today. I am Jack Croxton.
And I'm Chloe Kwolek, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Sing its glory and its praises. Let them ring.